Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some malicious compliance stories, and our first story of the day is by Artificial Serotonin. Cold hard cash? Sure thing. Prefacing this with the information that 1. My grandma has too much money. 2. My grandma has too much time. 3. My grandma has too big of a freezer. And 4. My grandma is petty as freak. The story. I have a cousin who's always wanted all sorts of interesting things for his birthday. Grandma loved that. Absolutely freaking adored it. She gave me a blow-in-the-butt turtle ocarina once, and I love it. That should explain her gifting for you. Now, as he grew up, he was less and less inclined to entertain Grandma's whimsical ideas and started requesting more mainstream presents. Grandma hated that and still found ways to make them whimsical. You want a guitar? Okay, but it'll have hippie wood burning patterns on it. You want bed sheets? Sure thing, but they'll have tie-dye prints all over and be made of silk. If it was possible to make a gift whimsical, Grandma would do it. We all knew this and started getting awfully specific in what we requested until one year he threw his hands up and said, "I don't know, just give me cold hard cash." Bad move. Very bad move. Grandma has chest freezers. The kind that are 4 feet deep, 4 feet across, and 12 feet long. Grandma also lives on a little foresty cottage plot, which means Grandma has access to all sorts of gardening tools and tinkers. So, Grandma being Grandma found a big bucket, a freak ton of little plastic seed bags, and got to work. Cousin, of course, was very excited to finally get a normal gift and was grinning at Grandma thinking that he had finally won the game. That is, until Grandma brought out a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot squared ice cube full of cash. Edited to add, measurement might be off. She used some sort of gardening bucket, and I was very young when it happened. This story's been retold by Grandma so many times that I don't think she remembers the exact measurements either. It wasn't frozen together either. Oh no. Grandma had gotten creative and layered the freaking ice gradually, freezing the cash solidly through the cube. This thing was icy white and oozing when brought into the room, and Grandma proudly announced that since he wanted cold hard cash, she gave him exactly that. This madwoman froze the equivalent of $1,000 in the ice in mixed money. There were tiny coins and bigger coins and bills in little seed bags near the center. It took the block about a week to melt because my cousin's birthday is in January and his mother refused to let it melt in the house for the fear of water damage. So it was sat in their garage, slowly melting. Edited to add, bathtubs aren't common where I'm from and they didn't have one. Added to, it wasn't my block to melt, and I'm not sure why Cousin and Co. didn't put it in the shower. Moral of the story, don't freak with Grandma and her whimsical presents. All things considered, would you be too upset about getting a giant ice cube filled with $1,000 knowing you just have to let it melt out somewhere? Let me know in the comments down below if you'd be ecstatic to get an ice block filled with $1,000 for your birthday. Our next story is by Drew Chain. Keep it red. Short and sweet, and probably not as cool as most ones on here, but everyone involved thought it was hilarious. I was playing Uno the other night with my wife and brother. We'd been playing for a few hours at this point and having an absolute blast. As most long Uno sessions go, there have been multiple alliances, all broken, all re-established, and betrayed yet again. In this particular round, my wife and brother were at each other's throats, just really doing everything they could to hurt each other. Insults were flying. The sheer number of reverse cards that were played honestly defied physics. And there I was, caught in the crossfire. 2 superpowers at war, and I'm the third world country caught in the middle. Then the fateful moment happens. She slaps down a red 4 and triumphantly announces, "Uno!" My brother seethed. He could not allow her to win. It's my turn, and he looks at me and says, "Keep it red." Now see, here's the problem. Before my wife Uno'd, I'd been sitting on 2 skip cards for a while and I was itching to play them. So when my brother indicated he was going to hurt her, using red, all I heard was red. And I happened to have a red skip. So I slapped that crap down so hard the table quaked. Boys, The utter disbelief on both my wife's and brother's face is a look I'll cherish till the day I die. It was in slow motion that my wife laid down her last card, which was a red 7. We laughed for a solid 5 minutes after that. That malicious compliance is still being muttered about at my house and in any group chat that contains me and my brother. It was a glorious day, 11 out of 10. Would keep it read again. Honestly, whether it's as kids or adults, those moments playing games with siblings and people that are close to you, loved ones, those can be some of the best and most long-lasting memories, and something that when you get together with them again or you talk to them after a while, you can bring up and kind of rub in their face or jab them a little bit with. It's always a great time. This next story is by Scarlet Absol 13. You want me to run a fundraiser I tried to tell you I wouldn't be able to? Okay, have it your way. This is kind of a 2-for-1 malicious compliance story, so it's gonna be kind of long. So this happened back in September of 2006 when I was 16 years old. I was a Girl Scout, and our troop leader basically ran the troop like it was a doctoral level university course and made us, girls aged from 12 to 16, run most of the fundraisers to teach us responsibility. Well, in September, we were going to be selling steeply discounted magazine subscriptions through the organization as a last-ditch effort to earn money for a trip to London the troop would be going on in April of 2007. I had no intention of participating in the fundraiser since I knew I wasn't going to be able to sell any magazine subscriptions, nor would I be going on the London trip. However, the leader had other ideas and put me in charge of the fundraiser, meaning I would be responsible for handing out the packets to the 3 girls who weren't at the meeting, and I would have to tally up all the sales at the end of the fundraiser. I immediately protested the decision by our militant leader and told her I won't be able to run the fundraiser as I have academic obligations on our meeting night for the entire duration of the fundraiser. The leader sneered at me and said, "What academic obligations could you possibly have for the next 5 Friday nights?" I say, I'm in my high school's concert band and weather permitting, we're scheduled to play at our school soccer and/or football games. Each of the performances count as a full test grade and missing just one performance will dock my grade a full letter. She sneered again and told me, an extracurricular activity like band isn't an academic obligation. I say, but ma'am, for me, concert band is an actual class, like math or science, and I get graded for it. And I'm going to be studying music in college, so... The leader says, I don't care, you're still going to run the fundraiser. A few of the other girls offered to run the fundraiser instead, but the leader was adamant that I would be the one running the fundraiser and she snapped. No, she needs to step up and take some responsibility for a change, even if she's not coming to London with us. So, cue malicious compliance number 1. I reluctantly agreed to run the fundraiser, and as luck should have it, the weather was perfect and clear for those next 5 Friday nights, so instead of going to my Girl Scout meetings, I was sitting in the stands of my high school's football field jamming with the rest of the high school band. The night I went back to my Girl Scout meetings was the night I was supposed to turn in all the paperwork for the fundraiser as it was due the following Monday. And well, I had nothing to turn in, and my leader was furious with me. In front of everyone and a few of the parents, she screamed, "Thanks to you, the fundraiser failed." And I reminded her, when you put me in charge, I told you I wasn't going to be able to run it because of school obligations, and you still decided to put me in charge. So I did the responsible thing and put my academics before my extracurricular activities. This fundraiser didn't fail because of me, it failed because of you. After that, she looked like she took a bite out of a lemon, handed me her cell phone and said, "Call your mother to come pick you up. You're no longer a member of this troop. I'll change your status to Juliet, a Girl Scout who isn't a member of a troop, when I get home tonight." Before I left, she sarcastically sneered, "Good luck trying to find another troop to join." Cue malicious compliance number 2. After school the following Monday, I called the Girl Scout Council office for my region and asked if there were any cadet/senior troops in the county I lived in, and as it turned out, there was actually one in my hometown. I requested the leader's contact information and called her as soon as I got off the phone with the council office. I explained my situation to her and if it would be alright if I joined her troop. She said, "Of course," and gave me the troop number and troop crest. So later that week, I went to the Girl Scout Council store to pick up my new troop's insignia, and that Friday night joined my new troop. But it doesn't end there. Before I left that first meeting, my new leaders asked my mother if I wanted to join them for a Girl Scout seminar that was going to be held the next morning at a local hotel. I agreed to go, and the leader added, "Just so you know, your last troop leader is going to be there. Is that okay? I don't know if you want to see her so soon after what happened." I grinned and said, "Oh, I definitely want to see her." The aftermath that ensued that sunny but chilly Saturday morning was glorious. Once my troop leaders, the other two girls from my troop, and I arrived at the venue, we were led to a room where my former troop leader, her daughter, and another girl from my former troop were in. Turns out they were also participating in the opening flag ceremony. The look on the leader's face when I entered the room wearing the full insignia for another cadet/senior troop just a week after she kicked me out of her troop was priceless. She stiffly said a curt "hello," while the other two girls were like, "We're so glad you were able to join a new troop, and none of us blame you for what happened with the fundraiser." And to top it all off, guess who ended up leading the opening flag ceremony because she was the highest ranking girl taking part? Yup, yours truly. OP knows what's good for them, what the right thing to do is, and what their self-worth is. I'm glad that OP stood up for themselves and didn't cave into the pressure of this troop leader. Be the bigger person and absolutely show them up and make them eat their words and actions. Our next story is by Joseph Forth. We Still Wanted Pizza. This took place in the very late 80s or early 90s pre-internet. We had a very large multi-line BBS system with some text games and robust chat rooms where a lot of people hung out and used it as the central hub of their social lives. A lot of us met and hung out in person on weekends, and there were also a lot of parties. And that's already more backstory than you need, but apparently forum rules say I have to include some sort of setup. One Saturday, we have a pool party that was pretty large. We decided to go order pizza from a local 24-hour place that was famous for having great brick oven square pizza. We ordered something like 10 to 12 large pizzas very early on, even confirming they are okay handling an order that big. Hours go by, several phone calls asking where the pizzas are, excuses about how they had messed them all up, really, all of them, and had to start over, but eventually, more than 8 hours after we ordered, they show up. Most of the people had left by then, and that was now way too many pizzas. We ask if we can just take half of them. The delivery guy, who I'll call Delivery Guy because I don't know his name and it isn't important, but again, forum rules say I have to give somebody an alias during the story, says he has to call his boss. He comes in and uses the phone. I hear him telling his boss how after all those hours people have left and that we only want half the order. Boss says, "No, tell him it is all or none." Fine then, none it is. Sorry dude, bye. There we are starving. Some ideas are thrown out about what place was open on that side of town, where we could go, etc. I had my heart set on that pizza place, so I suggested we go there. There was some confusion at the suggestion. Haha, yeah, that would be hilarious if we all just rolled up and… Wait, you're serious? I was serious, but nobody was calling me Shirley. We went. As we are piling in, the delivery guy spots us and whispers to his boss while pointing at us. Boss gave us the evil eye the entire time we were in there, and I heard him say something about throwing all those other pizzas out. To be fair, if you totally screwed up the entire order, all those pizzas, and you showed up 8 hours late, I would think you have every right to deny the pizzas no matter how big an order. And our final story of the day is by California Oldtimer. Private tells the drill sergeant why he wants to be in the Navy, as do many others. Okay, so this happened in basic Navy training in 1956. Basically, when you get there, you have the drill sergeant that is pressuring you and making you as uncomfortable as possible. A day passes, and Drill Sergeant Sirius would make people do sit-ups, push-ups, and other physical exercises. The one question that he would ask repeatedly is, "Why do you want to join this Navy?" Some people said things about serving the country or bettering themselves. But then Private Honest gave his answer. Drill Sergeant Sirius said, "Private Honest, why do you want to join this Navy?" Private Honest says, "Because there were no jobs in my town, sir. I didn't want my daughter and wife to be hungry and homeless, sir." Drill Sergeant Sirius looks embarrassed and continues down the line. He goes to Private Honest number 2. "Private Honest number 2, why do you want to join this Navy?" "I was drafted, sir. I don't want to be in the Navy, sir. I am here against my will, sir." Drill Sergeant Sirius looks upset and continues down the line to Private Honest 3. "Private Honest 3, why do you want to join this Navy?" "I don't want to, sir. I was drafted, sir. I had a good job in life at home, sir. I don't want to be here, sir." After this, the drill sergeant got frustrated and never asked that question for the rest of basic training, because I'm sure that he feared people telling him the reasons why they wanted to be there or why people didn't want to be. First, let me say that the reason why I used Army terms and titles instead of Navy ones is that I thought it would be easier for people to relate to, as many are more familiar with the Army. And to be spared of Navy jokes, which I have heard many of. Also, years ago we did say drill instructor. Company instructor, the RDC term, wasn't widely used when I was there and started to be somewhat used by the time I left in the 60s. My hat's off to all the people that had to serve being drafted. People had to basically give up their lives just because the country said, you're going to war. I just could never imagine that would ever be an easy thing on anyone. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.